My name is Jolene Philo, and I am the author of a new organizational tool for caregivers called the Caregiver's Notebook. And the subtitle says what it is: an organizational tool and support to help you care for others. This is the third episode in the how-to series about how to use the Caregiver Notebooks and how to fill out the different sections of it. In the first episode, I just gave a brief introduction about how the notebook came about and who it's for. And in the second episode, you learned how to fill out the emergency packet. Now, if you haven't watched either of those episodes yet, you will find links to them below this video. So you can, if you like to do things in order, you can go and hit those links and start over and then come back to this one when you're done. Or you can do this one and then go back and pick up those other episodes later. Anyway, we are going to be talking today in episode 3 about how to fill out the calendar section. So let's just take a quick look at it first. I'm going to hold it up for you to see. The calendar section has a tab, and guess what it says? Calendar. Very good. So you can just turn there if you already have a notebook. If you don't have a notebook yet, you'll find a link where you can order it by Amazon, or if you'd rather have an autographed copy, just go up to the contact tab at the top of the page, hit that, and you can email me about getting an autographed copy too. Or you can also find it at your local bookstore. Let's talk about how to fill out the calendar section. Now, if you flip past the tab page to the first page, it begins with some information about how to fill out this section. But I know some people like to hear it rather than read it and talk it over. And then maybe you might have some questions at the end. And if you do, you can leave those in the comment box at the bottom of this web page. I'd be glad to get back to you and answer those. This calendar is a 3-year calendar. I did that on purpose. I asked the publisher to make this a 3-year calendar because the last thing you need to do as a caregiver is have to fill out and recopy everything from one notebook into another every single year. I know that's how I want to spend my New Year's Eve. Wow. Well, anyway, this calendar is a 3-year calendar, and if you turn one more page, you'll see, I'm going to hold it up, you can see that the calendar is blank. There is nothing filled in. And that's on purpose too. That means you can begin using the calendar whenever you start being the caretaker or caregiver for your loved one. Or you may want, if you aren't having any health issues, you may not want to use the calendar at all yet. My husband and I, excuse me, my husband and I are going to be filling out notebooks for ourselves. But we really don't have any big care needs right now. We just want to make sure that our kids have the emergency information if something would happen to us, that they have the contacts of who to call if we would need a doctor or a therapist or whatever. And we want them to know where all of our legal information is stored. Those are the main sections that we're going to be filling out right now. And we're not going to fill out the calendar page at all. If something would happen to me, if I'd be in a car accident, or if my husband would have a serious injury, or if one of us had a heart attack or something unexpected, then we could pick up the calendar section and we could start filling it out and using it. And then the other parts would already be there for us. Do you understand what I mean? However, if you are already actively caring for someone, like I and my brother and sister care for my mother, next week when I go down to visit her on Tuesday, I'm going to start filling out the calendar on her section right now and get everything ready because we need it right now. Anyway, when you are ready to fill in the calendar, use pencil. I think I mentioned that in the other 2 episodes, but use pencil. It's just a lot easier. That way, if you misnumber something or if an appointment is canceled or changed, you can just erase it and not have to X everything out and make it look all messy like it gets with pen or marker. What can you put on the calendar? Well, that's pretty much up to you. I'm going to show it to you again. And you'll notice on the side of every one, there's a little inspirational Bible verse or a saying, just to keep you going and encourage you. There's also a little room for some notes, if you have some things you want to mention about this month specifically. But things that could go on the calendar, of course, your loved one's appointments, whether they have doctor appointments or therapy appointments, or my mom, I took her in today for her flu shot. I would probably just jot down on the calendar. Next week when I go and fill it in, I'll fill it in for this whole month, and I'm going to go back and mark down that's when she had her flu shot, so I can check that out again next year and see when that happened. Other things that you can put in if you are caring for an elderly parent that goes to adult daycare, you could fill out that schedule on here. You could also do the same if you have in-home caregivers. You could fill that schedule in on this calendar page if you like. If you have scheduled respite, if you're caring for a child with special needs or an adult with special needs and you need a break now and then, you could fill in, if you're taking them somewhere for an overnight at a respite, you could put that on this calendar. Any activities that you go to, club meetings, whatever, cards, whatever your loved one participates in, those can go on the calendar. You can record dates of phone calls. If you say just call your doctor's nurse to talk to her or him for a little bit about something, you could record that in here. If you call the insurance company about something, you could have that date recorded here. There is an insurance section where you can log a little more specifically what you talked about and put more information. But if you want to see an overall picture of when you did those things, you could also record it here on the calendar. The nice thing about that then is when you get things filled out, when you get sections filled out, let's say your insurance wants to know when you had providers in or when you called the doctor, or your doctor asks a question about that. You could even photocopy these pages and you could hand them or send them in to whoever needs them as documentation. So they can be used that way too. So it's a help for you now, and it's there for you in the future to consult, and it's there for you to prove that you've done what you said you did. One last thing that I really think is important for you to include on this calendar is when you are going to give yourself a day off, and you should schedule that each month, and you should put down what weekend or what day or two you're going to take off, and you're going to have other people come in and care. Then you can leave that out and you can say, okay, to your relatives maybe that also are willing to help sometime, or a neighbor that's willing to come in, you can have them sign up then for the time slots when they're going to come in and watch your loved one, so that you can get away and have a much needed break. That's one of the best things you can do for your loved one as you are a caregiver, is give yourself regular breaks so you can get away from the stress, come back, be refreshed, and be on top of your game and meet the needs of your loved one with 100% vim, vigor, and vitality. Now, as I mentioned before, if you have any questions about how to fill out the calendar section or how it can be used, go to the comment section at the bottom of the page and you can leave me a message there. If it's something more private that you don't want out on the internet, hit the contact button and you'll be able to click a link that gets to my direct email. You can email me that way and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Well, that is it for episode 3, how to fill out the calendar of the Caregiver's Notebook. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you come back in a week for the next section, which will be on how to fill out the contact section.